Hello everyone, this is your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0. Welcome back to the channel. Enjoy the fanfic. And let's begin. Part 2. And then I just beat up those delinquents. Gokudera finished his story which he had told with greatest pride. They won't be bothering me anymore. Didn't I do great? 10th. He asked like a puppy needing attention. This is what Naruto thought while eating his lunch quietly. Why yeah. Tsuna nodded, not daring to disagree. But Gokudera, you really shouldn't try to pick a fight with every person who you see. It isn't nice. Yamamoto said. TCH. Gokudera huffed. It's not my fault everyone tries to pick a fight with me. I just defend myself. Actually it is. Naruto interrupted and everyone looked at him. You reek of trouble. All you need to do is just to walk into a room and your testosterone will do the rest. What was that? You for face. Gokudera yelled and took his face next to Naruto's. You want a piece of me? I already ate. Naruto answered but glared back. But I don't mind another snack. Bring it on. Gokudera yelled and stood up. Ma, don't fight. Yamamoto stepped between them laughing. Anyway, what do we have on our next period? Tsuna asked trying to change the subject. It's PE. Yamamoto answered absent-mindedly. I hope we play baseball. I think I could hit home runs a lot. It's thanks to that kid's special training. Tsuna shivered when he remembered the hell they had gone through that day. First those grenades, steel balls, shape-shifting bat and dinos helping Naruto to improve. He had supervised when Naruto had shot arrows from the roof and then told him to try out the sniper rifle. Tsuna had thought he would die. But it was true, Yamamoto was now stronger and Naruto was now more accurate. Even Gokudera was on high spirits. Not that any of those were a good thing. What are you doing, boss? Naruto asked. They had already moved to the door. The CL is about to start. Oh okay. Tsuna stumbled up and run forward. They were playing football on PE for Yamamoto's disappointment. Okay team. Naruto yelled loudly and everyone looked at him. He and Yamamoto were on one team and Tsuna and Gokudera on the other. If we want to win them, we have to play this out carefully. Why? Someone asked. They have Gokudera and Boss. Naruto explained. Those two are most definitely the most dangerous people in the team. Wah, maybe Gokudera but no good Tsuna. Come on. Yamamoto threw himself over Complainer's shoulder. You shouldn't underestimate him, you know. He smiled. Okay. Oh okay. The guy gulped and backed away. What's with him? Yamamoto asked confused. I don't know. Naruto shrugged equally confused. He had spent so much time with Yamamoto already that he didn't even realize how weird it was when a guy threw himself on another's shoulders. Anyway, I need you two to go and keep their defense busy and you three to keep their attack busy. Me and Yamamoto will deal with Boss and Gokudera. Okay. Tsuna and Gokudera who observed this from another end of the field amazed. Or Tsuna was amazed, Gokudera was just angry. I will blow that guy into pits. He cursed under his breath. Gokudera-kun. Tsuna calmed him down. But it's really amazing how he's so naturally taking the lead of the team. And how easy it's for people to follow his orders. Even people who wouldn't normally go with him, he can easily convince them his way. 10th. Gokudera whispered. Don't worry, 10th. I'm sure that you're much better leader. Come on. Show to him who's the boss of the family. But Tsuna before he could even say a word, a ball flew right into his face. Ow. 10th. Gokudera screamed. Who kicked it? He pulled out his dynamite. Who the kicked it? It's okay. Tsuna smiled and rubbed his face. Ooh. The ball. He chased after it. Damn that bastard who kicked it 10th. Gokudera yelled. Where is he? No one dared to come forward. Fine. If I'll just kick all your s until someone confesses. That's not nice, you know. Yamamoto tried to calm him down. It was an accident, right? Gokudera glared at him. Was it you? Huh? Did you kick the ball? Oh, of course not. Yamamoto laughed nervously. My aim within football is terrible. And I didn't even get to touch the ball. Then who? Did you see it? Oi, earlobe, calm down. Naruto stepped forward. Boss said it was okay, so why won't you let it go? It's an insult to the boss and to the family if the boss gets hurt. Yeah, but Naruto placed his hands behind his head. Kicking ordinary nerds and brats, I don't really enjoy that. Not that I enjoy fighting at all. Fighting is bad in any case, but it was an accident. What if the guy who kicked the ball apologized? Wouldn't that be okay? Yamamoto asked. Gokudera looked from Yamamoto to Naruto and back. He was clearly outnumbered here, and they did have a point. Everyone in their CL was just weak nerds. It would bring shame to the 10th if, don't try to manipulate me. 10th was hurt and he must be revenged. Damn, so close. Naruto sighed and took a moment to think. Gokudera, if you want to be boss's right-hand man, you should know not to pick on weaklings like these. Gokudera pouted. That did make sense. Fine. He spat and put his dynamite away and took a cigarette. Good. Naruto raised his head. Ichiro, you can come out now. I promise he won't hurt you. Some very scared-looking kid came out of the crowd shaking. Are you sure? You knew. Gokudera yelled. And you didn't tell me. Because creating havoc aimlessly also brings shame to the family and to the boss. Naruto said with very serious tone but held his fingers in victory sign. Damn you. Tsuna ran back seemingly pale and dropped the ball to the ground. I'm not feeling so well, I'm going to go to a nurse's office. He stumbled away. What's with him? Naruto asked confused. Maybe the ball hit harder than we thought. 10th. Gokudera screamed shocked and disappeared in that second. Don't go to that whole doctor. He will only make it worse. We better go with him. Naruto gulped uncomfortably. Yamamoto nodded and they rushed after them. Like Gokudera had suspected, the school nurse, Dr. Shamal, only made it worse. He kicked Tsuna painfully into head and then kicked him and his friends out of his office and slammed the door behind them. Read the sign, he yelled. Everyone gazed at the sign on the door. No, guys. Everyone's sweat dropped at this. Should we take you to a hospital? 10th. You're not dying, are you? It's okay. Tsuna calmed him down. I just thought I saw something. That couldn't happen. He wobbled away. Tell sensei that I won't be around on the next hour. 10th. I'll escort you. Gokudera yelled and rushed after him. Naruto and Yamamoto looked at each other and shrugged. I will skip school. Thought I might hit the arcade or something. You wanna come? Sure. Yamamoto smirked and they walked away. Are you sure it's okay? 10th. Gokudera asked as he practically carried him into his room. You're feeling okay? I'm sure. Tsuna tried to calm him down when he opened the door. I'm home, Reborn. He screamed as he noticed that Reborn was having a coffee with the exact same boy who he thought had been a hallucination. Who is this kid? Tsuna ni. Please help me. The ranking Fuda asked with puppy dog eyes. That's really amazing. Yamamoto whistled impressed when he saw Naruto's results. You topped every other name in the game. Naruto dramatically rolled the playgun around his finger and blew the smoke of the pipe. This is easy. Yamamoto yawned. Is it just me or is the pink becoming more popular? Naruto turned around. The arcade did have more pink in it than usually. Then he saw the Sings on the other side of the street with big hearts. It's about time for the Valentine's Day. Oh yeah. Yamamoto punched his palm, figuring it out. Do you think you're getting any chocolate? He jokingly elbowed Naruto to the side. Naruto snorted. Unlikely. Girls in our CL don't even dare to hand me notes, little alone chocolate. What about you? You're pretty popular with the ladies, what I understand. You really think so? Yamamoto asked. I haven't really noticed. Naruto glanced right behind Yamamoto. Right now a couple of schoolgirls were whispering and giggling and looking at him. You're really a dimwit, he said, and they walked out of the arcade. So, what you wanna do now? Right then a group of men in very nice, Italian clothes pushed them aside and run away. Watch where you're going, Naruto yelled angrily, but the men didn't care. I wonder what that was all about, Yamamoto asked. You want what? Gokudera screamed shocked. Reborn-san, you're not seriously considering that 10th would protect this kid, are you? That's Tsuna to decide, Reborn said smugly and zipped his coffee. Tsuna ni? Fuda asked with his puppy dog eyes. Please help me. 10th, Gokudera whispered. Okay. Tsuna sighed defeated. 10th, we have a problem. Gokudera glared down from the window. The group that Fuda was escaping from had found their way into Tsuna's home. What should we do? Tsuna gulped. We can't just abandon him, but those guys are Mafia. He screamed. Reborn, what should we do? That's you to decide. Try act a bit more like a boss. Didn't you say just this morning that you wanted to be a better leader after watching Naruto's work? How do you even know that? And I never said anything like that. Tsuna screamed. And that has nothing to do with this. Tsuna ni? Fuda begged with puppy dog eyes. Tsuna hated himself for what he was about to say. We will help you. He whispered defeated. 10th. Gokudera nodded firmly. Then I shall deal with those idiots. Wait. There are too many of them. Tsuna stopped him. Let's try something else. Hey, what you think you're doing in front of this house? Naruto's voice yelled from outside. Do you have something to talk about with Tsuna? Yamamoto replied politely. Naruto-kun. Yamamoto. Tsuna screamed. Those idiots. Gokudera cursed. You should go and help them. Reborn kicked Gokudera into the back and he flew out of the window. Gokudera? Yamamoto and Naruto asked together when he crashed right on top of someone important. What the hell is going on? These guys are enemy. Gokudera yelled and pulled out his dynamite. Destroy them. When Gokudera started a brawl, Naruto and Yamamoto only looked bit shocked how things were progressing. What should we do? Yamamoto asked, trying to keep the smile on his face. I don't know. Naruto laughed nervously. Earlobe sees enemies everywhere. Then one of the Mafia guys tried to sneak behind him and hit him into head, but Yamamoto intercepted the guy with a punch. I guess we should try to deal with these guys. Attacking us like that. He shook his head disapprovingly. Naruto didn't reply but kicked one of the guys out of his way. No way. Tsuna screamed as he followed the fight below. Everyone is fighting. You should use this chance to get Fuda out of here. Reborn told him. Those guys might not last long, and if they get their hands on him, their sacrifice will be for nothing. Don't talk about them like they're dead. In any case, get going. Reborn kicked Tsuna outside the house. Come on Fuda, quickly. He rushed out of the house, but kept looking over his shoulder. Sounds of explosives and fighting were clear as day. He could see a large, dark cloud rising from Naruto's smokescreens, and if he really concentrated, he could hear the slashing sound. Everyone. Don't worry about them, Tsuna ni? Fuda smiled. Those three are among the strongest in your school. I ranked them, and they are able to beat those guys. You're so sure? Of course. My rankings have never failed me. Fuda exclaimed proudly. Just when Tsuna was about to reply, a yell interrupted them. They both turned their heads to see that three goons were following them. Stop right there, brats. They're here. Tsuna screamed and dashed off. Actually, for once, he ran so fast that he couldn't be caught, but he left Fuda behind. Oh my god. That's the last of them. Gokudera swept his hands satisfied. 10th will be so proud of me and my team leading skills. What? Team leading? Naruto asked. You only yelled and kicked people. And I think you tried to blow me up couple times too. I'm his right-hand man. Gokudera yelled. I'm the position vice. Naruto argued. I outrank you. I keep telling you that there is no such spot. And I'm telling you that I'm the new vice boss. Naruto yelled and spat some blood and spit to the ground. Or do I have to make myself through you? Bring it on. Stop it, you two. Reborn jumped on them and kicked them both down. Do you notice something missing? 10th. Gokudera screamed. He's not here. But then Tsuna in his boxers walked home little awkwardly. He had first beaten the Mafia's men, but then he had to escape police officers who took him as a pervert. It was hard, especially when Fuda was dragging him down with his eyes, which were now full of admiration. Are you okay, guys? He asked after he finally could relax. Never better. Yamamoto smirked. We beat these kidnappers. Is that the kid they were after? Yes. This is Fuda. Never mind him. Gokudera brushed off. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Tsuna ni is awesome. And Fuda told how great Tsuna had been when he defeated Mafia's men alone, and by doing so, proved Fuda's ranking wrong. Gokudera nodded understanding while Tsuna looked himself around in awe at the body count. You were able to defeat all of them. Well, few of them managed to escape, but I think I can find them if you want to. Naruto nodded. No need to such things. Really? Tsuna's sweat dropped. Really? Naruto-kun, you're so absorbed into this mafia world already. I guess it's in my blood or something. He shrugged and smirked. But it really is fun. I think so too. Yamamoto laughed. Playing mafia with friends like this. You people should get yourself fixed. Reborn said to them. You all need fixing up. Expect Tsuna who only run away. That's not true, Reborn-san. Gokudera yelled. It was to secure this brat, so he had to leave. Hahii. What's going on? Haru walked to the scene. Tsuna-san. What happened? Haru. What are you doing here? Tsuna asked. Who this? Naruto asked from Yamamoto, who scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Well, it's hard to say. My name is Miura Haru. She turned quickly facing Naruto. I'm Tsuna-san future wife. Wah. Naruto was shocked. Really? No, not really. Tsuna screamed when Gokudera yelled at the same time. You're still saying that, you stupid woman. But that's true. Haru said firmly. I had no idea. Naruto was still in shock before quickly bending his neck. I'm truly sorry for being so disrespectful. My dearest Madonna Haru A.N., lady in Italy. Uzumaki Naruto. I work as your husband's second in command. Nice to meet you. Haru bowed back like there wasn't anything wrong with this picture. I'm glad that my husband has someone else than that jerk Gokudera in his staff. They are already at the same level. Tsuna screamed shocked. It's only natural. Reborn said. Naruto is your vice boss. He is charge of the family when you're on your honeymoon. But she's not my wife. She's not even my girlfriend. Tsuna screamed from top of his lungs, but other than Gokudera, no one even noticed. The next day was the Valentine's and the school was full of pink. 10th. Let's eat together. Gokudera smiled brightly. Gok. Tsuna was about to reply when he suddenly turned around. Shut up, you annoying bitches, and stop following me around. Gokudera barked like a mad dog to a group of girls who were squealing and asking him to take their chocolates. His bark didn't seem to have much effect on them. Stupid bitches. He muttered, and quickly as he had turned into a wild dog, he turned back into whipped puppy. Sorry about that, 10th. He apologized quickly and sat to the table. It's just that those girls are so annoying. You're as popular as ever. Tsuna smiled. And so is Yamamoto. They glanced at the other side of the room where the said person was accepting chocolates from every girl around him. That baseball idiot. Trying to outscore 10th. Why would boss need any chocolate from anyone? Naruto asked as he sat down. He already has a wife, doesn't he? Haru isn't my wife. Tsuna screamed, but Naruto ignored him completely when he argued with Gokudera about importance of being popular. But he already has someone, so he doesn't need to be any more popular with girls than he already is. Naruto said angrily. That's why I already told you, that idiot woman isn't 10th's wife. But Madonna Haru said she is in between your word against hers. Well, that isn't really a contest. But even 10th has been saying that. When did boss ever say anything like that? Just leave me alone, Tsuna whispered, defeated. So, boss, are you expecting chocolate from anyone else than Madonna? I keep telling you, Tsuna tried but decided to give up. I don't know. Girls are all idiots if they don't see Thankx's greatness. Gokudera nodded firmly before suddenly turning around to bark at girls again. You're not satisfied with anything, are you? Naruto muttered before suddenly standing up. Well, I'm off. What? Everyone looked at him suddenly. Where? There's this new shop in downtown I want to visit today. What kind of shop? Yamamoto asked as he finally reached Tsuna's desk. A sports shop. Naruto smirked. I wish to see if they got this new bow I've been looking for. But please, I don't really care about my attendance records. Naruto shrugged and smiled, but for some reason, Tsuna wasn't completely convinced. So if you don't mind, he took his bag and walked out of the door. He's so relaxed, Tsuna whispered enviously. That bastard acting the way he wants. Gokudera cursed and looked after him. Huh, is something in the matter, 10th? Tsuna flinched slightly before turning towards Gokudera smiling. No, it's all right. We will be off now, 10th. Gokudera bowed obediently at the crossroads. Damn chocolates. He shook his bag angrily, dropping few pink packages. Thanks, guys. Tsuna waved and walked into opposite direction. In the end, I didn't get any chocolate from anyone. Not even from Kyoko-chan. San. He stopped on middle of a step and suddenly glanced over his shoulder to see Haru standing there, sunny self, holding a package of chocolate, wrapped in pink. Happy Valentine's Day, Haru. Tsuna screamed, shocked before hanging his head depressed. I should have known that she would give me chocolate. He was about to accept if for no other reason but politeness when she quickly snatched it away. Isn't that Yamamoto and Gokudera? Tsuna turned around to see his two subordinates standing there, looking at something, their backs turned towards them. What are they doing? Tsuna whispered, confused when they suddenly jumped behind the corner into hiding. Seriously. He was about to yell to them when he saw Naruto stepping out of some shop with a woman. A mature woman with light pink hair. She had very distant and cold aura around her. Hahi. Haru launched herself into his back and grabbed tightly, trying to hide. Haru's husband's secretary is in a perverted relationship with an older woman. Tsuna laughed nervously. There were so many wrongs in that sentence that I don't even know where to start. But this is really strange. Ooh, Sawada, what are you doing here? They jumped down to see Ryohei with Kyoko walking towards them with her best friend, Hana. Oni-san. Kyoko-chan. Tsuna yelled loudly but quickly shushed them. What is it, Tsuna? Kyoko asked and looked over his shoulder. What are those two idiots doing? Hana asked, bored. Haru shushed them quickly. We are shadowing Naruto-san, who has obviously gotten lured into a harmful relationship with an older woman. What? Everyone blinked when they saw Naruto and the mysterious woman walking towards them. They were concentrated in a conversation, so they didn't seem to notice when everyone jumped into hiding. Tsuna leaned towards a wall, trying to hide himself. But why? Why should he hide himself? Would Naruto-kun really start a relationship with an older woman? No way. Then he heard them talking. You should understand your situation very well. Woman said with monotone voice as they ped them. You yourself have said that you're serious about this. I did say that, but what you're suggesting is just little too much too fast. If you understand, Naruto answered with unusually serious voice. There was a moment of silence. Fine. Let's talk about the details over there. She pointed towards a small Italian-style coffee shop, across the street. They crossed the street and entered the cafe. Everyone thought it was all right come out of hiding. What was that all about? Ryohei asked curiously. A real mystery. Haru whispered with a dramatic voice and Kyoko nodded accordingly. What is going on? No one asked you to come, you idiot woman. Gokudera barked angrily. Sorry, 10th. Me and this baseball idiot were on our way to home when we saw that face talking to that woman. We were about to go and talk to them when she suddenly pulled this weird envelope and handed it to Naruto. Yamamoto continued. He seemed quite shocked whatever it had been, so Gokudera pulled me into hiding. What the hell is going on? Ryohei asked loudly. We just explained that we don't know. Gokudera yelled at him. But can't you explain it more simply? No. Just sit back and stay quiet. While the two bickered, Tsuna looked very concerned at Naruto, who was sitting next to window. He seemed to be very stressed out about whatever that woman was talking about. He was still holding that envelope and every now and then stole a look from inside. Everything all right? Kyoko asked gently. You seemed worried. I just can't help to shake this feeling. That woman gives a bad feeling. Who is she? Maybe you should go and find out. Reborn appeared from somewhere. Chaosu. Reborn. What the hell are you doing here? And where did you come from? Don't mind that. Anyway, if boss has concerns about his family, he should clear them right away. Go and ask what is going on. He kicked Tsuna into back, forcing him to the street where a car suddenly pumped into him. 10th. Tsuna. Sawada. Tsuna-san. Tsuna. Everyone screamed in unison and rushed to help him. Next few minutes consisted about Gokudera trying to kill the man driving the car, Yamamoto trying to stop him, Ryohei, gently, dragging Tsuna up, who said that he was okay, and girls just looking from sidelines. So no one noticed that the woman exited the coffee shop, leaving Naruto to sit alone. Woman walked through streets discreetly. She pulled out a phone and dialed. Ciao. It's me. Yes. I've talked to him. I'm not sure. I gave him some time to think it over. I will make him understand. Ciao. She closed the phone but stopped when she recognized the baby in front of her. Reborn-san. What is he planning? Reborn asked with quiet voice, his hat covering his eyes. Woman ignored his question and started walking. Your excellent progress will be reported, Reborn-san. She walked past him. He is only acting on based on your reports. Reborn didn't answer but started slowly walking towards Tsuna's home. Bianchi's poison cooking should have run out by the time he would reach there. He had invited everyone to Tsuna's home to celebrate Valentine's Day and keep them away from Naruto. For now, he would have to think this through. Sasagawa Ryohei was running laps through morning mist in town when he was stopped by a mysterious figure. Oni-san was attacked. Tsuna screamed shocked as they run to hospital. They had just heard the news of Oni-san being beaten by those same people who had been terrorizing students of Namimori Middle for some time now. Is he alright? We don't know until we get there. Reborn answered. Let's hurry. Tsuna. Wah. Naruto yawned loudly in the CL room. Is it over yet? No, it's not over yet, you idiot. Gokudera answered tired and irritably, who was sitting next to him. Where is 10th? How should I know? I saw him at the gates with Reborn. Okay. I'm out. Gokudera stood up. Without 10th here, there is no reason for me to be here. You delinquent. Naruto yelled jokingly after him while teacher tried to stop him. Well, guess I'm going too. He yawned again and walked off. Yo, Yamamoto. Want hit the arcade? He asked, ignoring teacher's scoldings which kept rising louder and louder. Yamamoto flinched when he woke up. Huh, wah, Yamamoto. Don't sleep during CL. Teacher yelled angrily. But Yamamoto ignored him and looked over his shoulder at Naruto. You going somewhere? He mumbled. Arcade. Now. But please aren't over. He rubbed his eyes sleepily. Where's Tsuna and Gokudera? Smoke factory left just now and I have no idea where the boss is. Uhun. Yamamoto leaned more comfortably behind his book. Whatever. Naruto sighed and moved out. Uzumaki. Teacher yelled after him. Get back here now. Damn delinquents. He muttered under his breath. Naruto walked through streets searching for the new hunting shop he had heard couple weeks ago. He saw how many people quickly evaded him when he passed by, and for once, it wasn't because of his hair color, or not completely because of it. Naruto walked around, his mind occupied. It had been hell of a day, that damn Valentine's Day. 2 days ago, if he had been asked if he was serious about this Mafia thing, he would only shrugged, smiled and said something like, sure. But after yesterday, he realized how much it really waited to say such things. He was still holding on to that envelope that woman yesterday had given him. He stole a quick look from it. Vongola crest was printed on it. Should he? He shook his head quickly and hid the envelope back inside his clothes. Naruto reached the shop which was having an opening sale. Even if his allowance was very small and just enough for his own needs, he couldn't help himself but to buy this new crossbow they were marketing with an amazing discount. He had been down lately. This would cheer him up. It was 40% lighter to stretch and reload, yet it had 10% more efficient. He was itching to try it out. Please, come back again, dear customer. Salesman yelled after him with a happy grin after a great sell. I sure will. And remember to call me soon as you get that new hunting bow, okay? Naruto yelled back. I have your number in speed dial, just as you requested. Man nodded happily. He had a sure customer here who didn't seem to care to spend his last yens to buy some quality weapons with decent price. Naruto hummed happily and held out his crossbow. Now, the only thing he needed was something to test it on. Then something exploded. Don't underestimate Vongola, Gokudera muttered and lighted his cigarette. The end. He leaned back lazily. This sure was dangerous, after all. But the inn was defeated and 10th is safe. Gokudera-kun. Tsuna screamed and run to him. 10th. Why are you here? I heard some you were in danger. Tsuna panted after a long run. I heard some people were after you. And you came just for me. Gokudera gasped happily. He bowed down proudly. Sorry for the trouble. I just took care of that guy. Then it was true. He's down somewhere over there. Gokudera smiled and looked over to the body. He's not there. Thanks for saving the trouble. Chikusa said slowly, appearing behind them. Now, if you would just come with me. Please, be careful, 10th. Gokudera pulled out his dynamite. This guy's weapons are JoJo's. But Tsuna could hardly breathe on his own, little own respond. Seeing the inn standing there, bloody and cold, remembering Oni-san in the bed and what Reborn had said. It was just too much for him. Even if you say that, I can't move. Chikusa threw his JoJo and needles launched out. Tsuna closed his eyes frightened, knowing that it would hurt soon. He was going to die. But nothing happened. Slowly, he cracked his eyes open. T10th, Gokudera's back whispered like he was in pain. Run, please run away. He crashed to the ground, blood coming out of his chest. Gokudera-kun. Naruto run through streets, following the sound of explosions and screams. Gokudera-kun. Boss. He gasped when he recognized the faint voice. I got to hurry. He couldn't move. He wanted, but none of his muscles listened to him. Come with me, Chikusa said and threw his JoJo. I got to run. I got to run. I must run. Tsuna screamed inside his head. Then suddenly something grabbed him and they avoided the needles. Safe. Yamamoto yelled proudly as they stopped. Home run. He smirked. Yamamoto. Tsuna screamed as he recognized the person who had saved him. I heard that some people from our school got into fight and I thought it might be Gokudera or Naruto. Then his eyes glanced at Gokudera's lying body. Too bad I came in too late. He stood up staring angrily at Chikusa. Gokudera-kun. Tsuna screamed. I get it. This isn't the quiet type, is he? Yamamoto said with dark voice, using a very frightening glare. You're in the way, Chikusa said and threw his JoJo. Watch out, Tsuna screamed. Yamamoto narrowed his eyes and pulled out his bat so fast that it turned into a katana. With one swing he managed to cut JoJo's lines. Yamamoto. Tsuna sighed relaxed. Tsuna, behind you. Yamamoto turned around to see that another JoJo had arced behind them and was out of his reach. Watch out. Tsuna could see how needles were about to launch themselves. He could feel Yamamoto's arm around him, trying to pull him away, but it was too late. That was until an arrow came and pierced through it. The JoJo shattered into pieces. Harmlessly. Wah! Chikusa muttered. That's. Yamamoto smiled in relief. Arrow. Tsuna gasped. Sorry my tardiness, boss. Naruto smirked as he raised his new crossbow, aiming at Chikusa. Don't you move, he said with clear anger in his voice. Not only have you threatened our boss, but you also damaged that idiot, Gokudera. Our family doesn't look too good at that kind of things. Naruto-kun, Tsuna screamed, here to save the famiglia. Vongola 10th, Sawada Tsunayoshi's vice boss, shooting star sharpshooter, Uzumaki Naruto. He raised his other hand to the sky and made a somewhat superhero pose. Tsuna and Yamamoto sweat dropped. What? Naruto asked and looked at them. Too much. This is my first time when facing an enemy. Naruto-kun, Tsuna said, sweat dropped. You really should drop those shonen mangas. It had only been a second when Naruto took his eyes off his target, but that was enough. He saw a slight glimpse in the rooftop just in time. He quickly took a leap back when a silenced bullet came rushing down, hitting right where he had been standing. Yamamoto, take boss away from here. Naruto aimed his crossbow to the roof. I will follow soon with Gokudera. He fired at the roof where he had seen the rifle. An arrow missed the target by 2 clicks. Yamamoto bit his lip but did as he was told. If these guys were after Tsuna, it was important to make sure he was safe first. Naruto would be fine. Let's go, Tsuna, he yelled as he blocked another Chikusa's attack. But Gokudera-kun, Tsuna whimpered and looked at Gokudera's lying body. Yamamoto bit his lip even harder but forced a smile on his face. It's okay. Naruto will take care of him. We have to get you out of here. Tsuna looked to the ground. What could he do? He had been told by 9th boss of Vongola to deal with these people, but how? If Reborn wasn't here to shot him with a dying will bullet, he couldn't do anything. He looked to the ground at Gokudera, who flinched slightly before settling down again. I don't leave him behind. He yelled and grabbed by his arm and raised him over his shoulder. Ah! He screamed when Gokudera's weight seemed unbearable, but he didn't give up. One step at the time. He panted and took a step forward. Tsuna, Yamamoto whispered and gulped when Tsuna slowly walked away, carrying Gokudera. I understand. He smiled and charged at Chikusa. You're Ken's target. Chikusa took a step back. I would prefer I didn't have to fight you. Sorry, but I can't let you hurt my friends. Yamamoto smiled and swung his blade once again. Tsuna struggled away, hearing Yamamoto swinging his sword and Naruto cursing loudly. He heard quiet ping sounds when bullets rained everywhere. TT 10th. Gokudera whispered and gulped. LLL leave me behind, or run, PP say, he struggled to say every word. No. Tsuna didn't know why he said that. He was no good Tsuna. Not a hero who saves the day Tsuna. I won't leave you behind. Any of you. T10th. Stay quiet. Tsuna snapped and struggled another step. I decided. Tsuna. Yamamoto forced Chikusa to back down. Boss. Damn it. There's just too much wind. Naruto cursed behind his shelter when another bullet landed on a brick wall. They had started a real firefight. Arrows and bullets crossed each other all the time. And now, they were in a stalemate. If he would come out of his corner, he would be shot in a blink of an eye. But if the sniper wanted to shot anyone else, he would have to move enough for Naruto to get a clear shot at him. But Naruto only had one arrow left. The one day I leave my bow behind. He cursed again. He could feel his opponent smirking. He must have realized the situation as well. And he wasn't an amateur either. He hadn't shot a single bullet since the start of the stalemate. Would you seriously hurry up? He wanted to yell to Boss, who hadn't even made 2 meters yet. Boss really needed some serious exercise. This has gotten boring. Chikusa muttered and was about to attack when police came to the scene, whistling and yelling. And now it's troublesome, he muttered and started to wobble away. Naruto glanced at the rooftop. The sniper shot one more bullet right past Naruto's hideout before disappearing. When he looked over his shoulder and saw where the last bullet had landed, he shuddered. It had pierced a Love Hotel advertising. He gulped and took a deep breath. This has no deeper meaning. He yelled to himself and quickly went and broke the sing. No whatsoever. He stormed out of the alley and rushed to help Gokudera of Tsuna's back. This has gotten troublesome, Naruto said after looking out of the window. Others were with Gokudera at the school clinic where Shimal was ignoring him the best he could while Naruto and Reborn were in another room. First Ryohei and now Gokudera. Who are these guys? What they want of Boss? Here, Reborn filled Naruto in of what was going on. So, what does the vice boss think? Naruto sat down and thought. We can presume that blind attacks will stop now. He muttered. They are obviously after Boss, so best we should do is getting him away from them. That's not an option. Ninth wants Tsuna to deal with him. That should be hilarious. Naruto gave out a fake laugh. Boss isn't someone who can deal with these kind of people. He's too, sorry for saying this, but he is too naive. And besides, our family only consists of me, Gokudera and Yamamoto. And one of us can't even fight anymore. He glanced out of the CL room window. Boss was having a nervous breakdown outside, in the hallway. Boss, he sighed disappointed. While you may be right about Tsuna being naive, but that doesn't mean you're right about him in other means. True, you're much natural leader than him. Reborn walked to the door. But that's why you're his vice boss. It's your job to be a connection between the family and its boss. He glared at him. Or were you just playing games? I never said I wanted to be a leader of anything. Naruto turned towards the window. And I haven't decided yet. Maybe I should kill Tsuna and have you success the ninth. Don't you dare. Naruto yelled suddenly. I may be a better leader than him, but that doesn't mean I could ever be good as Boss is. Sure. He is naive, weak, little slow in the head and is always trying to run away from things, but Naruto remembered when Tsuna came to help him when that group of delinquents had attacked during his trial into the archery club. Then he remembered the pole-knocking event. Their fight with Hibari. That Yakuza fiasco and so many other adventures they had together during these months. He never abandoned any of us. He remembered how Tsuna, weak as he was, forced himself to carry Gokudera's body. He remembered the determined look on his face. I told him to run away, but he didn't listen. He used everything he had to carry that earlobe back to safety, even though it was obviously going to fail. I would have left him behind, but not Boss. He stayed and did everything he could to save him. Even if he's a coward, he always does everything for his friends. He stands by them, fights for them, and often kicks some serious for them. He looked at Reborn into his big, black eyes. I may have been playing until now, gulp bu, but if Boss decides to go and attack these holes, I'll be right behind him. Because that's what Vice Boss is supposed to do, right? And if there is anything that really matters to me is that Tsuna is my friend, and even if I weren't a member of this family, I still wouldn't abandon him when he really needs me. He looked away. Reborn smiled. Just like you underestimate Tsuna and the others, you underestimate yourself. I suggest you go home now and get yourself ready. He smirked. Because soon as I have talked to Tsuna, you're going to start your counterattack. Naruto saw how Reborn walked out of the room and gently kicked Tsuna into understanding that there was no easy way out of this. They left soon after, and then Yamamoto came ping through, deep in thought but obviously determined. He stepped into the corridor. Bianchi and Shimal were arguing about Gokudera's treatment. He obviously couldn't care less, but this only made her angry. So he just ignored them and stepped inside Gokudera's room. He was already sitting on his bed and getting his clothes on. That insane fake doctor is trying to kill me, I got to get out of here. Then he saw Naruto standing there. What is it? We need to talk, he said with dark voice and pulled the envelope out of his pocket. Is everyone ready? Tsuna gulped and tried to cover the fear in his voice. Let's go and kick their ass. Gokudera roared loudly, making some neighbors look at them disapprovingly. Tsuna was certain they looked like a group of delinquents on their way to go into a fight. Hayato, you should stay behind. Your wounds are not healed yet, Bianchi said, concerned. She was wearing goggles to cover her face. It was the only way without Gokudera ping out. I'm fine, he barked angrily. Where is Naruto-kun? Tsuna asked, looking around. Gokudera flinched. He couldn't have. Here I am. Naruto walked in, carrying a large bag over his shoulder. Ready for action, boss. What's in the bag? Yamamoto asked curiously. Little something I prepared in haste. He smirked. That sniper guy really pissed me off, you know. So we're ready. Reborn asked everyone. They left Sawada household to face their first real enemy, or picnic like Yamamoto said. On their way there, Tsuna noticed that Gokudera was awfully quiet. Is anything wrong? He asked. Does your wounds still hurt? No. No. No need to concern yourself with me. I'm fine. He shook his head quickly. He tried not to look at Naruto. I just feel angry for being humiliated in front of you like that, last time when we faced them. Don't worry about that, it was my fault. I should have moved. Don't say that, 10th. You carried me into safety even though enemy was right there. His eyes shined full of admiration. Like a true boss who cares for his subordinates. But you shouldn't move too much or your wounds might open. Yamamoto warned. Tsuna can't carry you back if you're hurt. He smirked. Why you? Gokudera cursed. We're here, Tsuna said slowly as they stood next to the gate. What should we do? It's not late to turn back. Actually, I think it is. Bianchi said. I agree. Gokudera muttered. We're being watched. What? Tsuna screamed. By a sniper. No. Bianchi shook her head. I just can feel their murderous intent. But I don't think they will act on it just yet. There are several people watching us, 10th. Gokudera continued. I think they want us to come in. Let's not keep them waiting. Naruto smirked confidently and stepped forward. As they started to walk slowly towards the main building, Gokudera stayed at the end of the group with Naruto. Oi, what was that you told me yesterday? What about it? Naruto asked. Were you serious? Naruto gulped. I will answer to that after we're done with this. That was when something was thrown at them. Everyone was ready for a fight against a dead dog. Tsuna asked, disgusted when he crawled away from it. This is just wrong. But who threw it? Yamamoto asked when another cark was thrown at him. He turned around and one smooth motion cut it in half when something came from behind it and crashed onto him. He fell on his back to the ground and when it broke underneath him. After a short trip crashed painfully on the ground. Yamamoto. Everyone rushed to his aid. At the bottom of the pit where he was fighting with some maniac guy, half animal half man, thing. We have to help him. Tsuna yelled. I can't get a clear shot on that thing. Naruto answered while aiming his long bow. I'm afraid I might hit Yamamoto. You better not do that then. Reborn said with normal voice. What? Tsuna asked. It seems that Yamamoto is trying to protect his right arm. The baseball game. Tsuna gasped. He can't risk his arm. He needs help. Then go and help him. Reborn kicked Tsuna into back. 10th. Boss. They yelled together when Tsuna crashed loudly to the ground. Stand back. Reborn told them. But Reborn-san, 10th is. Another word and I will shoot you myself. He pulled out his Leon gun. Both Naruto and Gokudera took step back yelping. Down in the pit, Yamamoto saw how Tsuna crashed on the ground, painfully. And most likely on his face. Tsuna, he yelled. Wazat, Ken asked, snickering. A sidekick of yours? I guess I can take him out while you run around. What? Ken jumped on Tsuna, his mouth open. Itadakimasu. He howled like an animal. Tsuna screamed in fright when Yamamoto made a decision. Or rather, accepted what he had to do. Ken was about to take a bite out of Tsuna when a rock hit him hard on the head. Where are you looking? He asked. You're fighting with me. So now you feel like fighting, Ken licked his lips. Fine. I'll play with you before I finish this guy off. And charged off. It was rather quick. Ken changed into Cheetah Channel and in seconds, had bitten Yamamoto's arm. Got you. He laughed. Right back at you. Yamamoto smirked. Og. Yamamoto took the remains of his sword bat and hit him into the face with its base. Everyone watched as he punched Ken out of consciousness and breaking his canines in the process. Yamamoto. Tsuna screamed and rushed to his friend's side. I'm sorry. It's because my fault that you can't play in. Stop it, Tsuna. Yamamoto smirked and raised his arm. Didn't I say it before? The person who would treat baseball as more important than his friends is no more. Not after that leap you took from the roof back then. Then he checked out his arm. Besides, this is nothing. I bet I can still hit some home runs if I wished. That's amazing, Tsuna yelled. Are you immortal or something? Those idiots. Naruto sighed and crashed down. Now the tension gone, his legs decided to give in. Gokudera joined him, smirking, surprisingly satisfied. What? He asked. Well, I just thought about things and about our talk. He sighed and pulled out a cigarette while Reborn signed to Bianchi and he should move slightly further away, giving the two some privacy to talk. I realized then that if you say yes, that would leave me alone to make sure that that idiot won't kill boss. I haven't said anything to anything yet. Naruto muttered and stood up. Then he saw something. It was that glitter he had seen just yesterday. Get down. He leapt towards Gokudera and tried to push him out of harm's way as a shot was fired with a loud bang. It was thanks to Naruto that Gokudera's head didn't gain an extra hole, but it was also thanks to him that he was pushed accidentally down to the hole, right over unsuspecting Tsuna and crashed on Yamamoto, who was carrying him over his shoulder. Ow, ow, ow. Gokudera-kun. What's going on? Tsuna asked while struggling to get from between his two friends. That jerk Naruto pushed me down. Gokudera cursed when he heard another bang and shot penetrated the surface of the old GL house. A sniper. He muttered. 10th. Stay down. Naruto showed his head through the hole. I'm going to take of that sniper myself. You guys take out that Mukuro. He disappeared. Reborn. Bianchi. Look after these guys. Naruto-kun. Tsuna screamed. Don't. He's gone already, Tsuna. Reborn's voice answered and a rope landed on top of them. And so is the sniper. Tsuna managed to climb up surprisingly fast. We need to go help him. He looked around, trying to figure out where to go when another shot could be heard in a nearby forest. He can't face a man armed with a gun all by himself. It's admirable for a boss to care about his subordinates, but you must not overdo it. Reborn said. Naruto himself decided to take that sniper by himself so he wouldn't have to waste his sacrifice. Don't say it like he is dead. Tsuna screamed. But Reborn ignored him. So, how about a lunch? Naruto was in a bind. He had managed to lure the sniper after him, but his plan had one small, tiny, microscopic fault. He hadn't planned any further than that. So, now he was dodging bullets that were obviously driving him into a corner without giving him a chance to retaliate. So he ran like on fire from shelter to shelter. And when he thought he had found a place to take a breath, a shot from another blind spot would shock him. This guy was either really good or he had a bunch of friends with him this time. But for some reason, he didn't think it was the later one. He felt that he was alone after all. Alone with this one person who refused to reveal his location to him. Naruto couldn't explain it or would rather not, thinking that nobody would believe him, but Naruto could see things. Things that other people didn't see. This one time he had went into a magician show, he had thought it had been a load-off bull. The trickster had just covered his hand over a watch of someone from the audience, but nothing happened. He had just plainly dropped it into his other hand while showing his empty hand. Everyone else had been shocked and delighted when the clock reappeared in its owner's wrist. Naruto hadn't said anything because his mother had been most amazed of the trick, but from then on he had wondered if he was completely normal. Back to task at hand, he couldn't explain it, but even though it seemed impossible for one shooter to be able to aim from so many different angles so fast, he was certain he was just one shooter. He looked around. He was running past booths. Then it came. Bullet run past his ear, taking a lock of hair. Naruto leapt like a tiger, reading his bow in the process, and turned around. Take this. He yelled at the direction he had seen the bullet coming. But there was nothing. Arrow just flew into distance. Then, behind him again, between two stands, a bullet came nicking his leg. Arg! He screamed and landed on the ground. That hurt. He clenched his teeth together and quickly run into the nearest booth. That hole is playing with me. He cursed as he ripped his sleeve and tied it around the wound. Then he tried to tighten it. The pain rushed through him. Why it never seems to hurt in mangas. He whispered, tears in his eyes. He bit his lip so hard that he didn't even realize when the blood started coming out. The boss is counting on me. He forced himself to stand up and walked out. I'm Vongola 10th, Sawada Tsunayoshi's vice boss. Vongola family's best sharpshooter. The shooting star. Uzumaki Naruto. I won't go down until I see Tsuna as the best boss he can be. So I'm not losing to likes of you. Believe it. He saw something shining at the tallest rooftop around before it disappeared. Thank you. He muttered under his breath as he dropped a smoke bomb. Sniper smirked as he had been expecting this. Thank you, 6chan. He laughed as he faded into the background and appeared very close of the smoke cloud before pointing it with a handgun. He started blindly shooting at the cloud. It wasn't actually just blind shooting. He was trying to smoke his target out of the smoke. Get him panic. Force him into a mistake. He was already bleeding. He would die in 10 minutes. Then, as 6chan had told him, he would hunt down every other brat. There were some minor details he should watch, like not killing the Vongola and avoid some baby. Not that he cared. If he got anything into his sight, he would lick his lips and pull the trigger. Ooh, how he loved the feeling when the gun jumped back onto his shoulder. How he could smell the smoke and gunpowder mixing together. He loved to see blood gushing out of the body. He loved to see through the scope who bullet impelled its target and then it came out, possibly killing more than just one. He also loved when he saw panic on people's eyes. When they realized there was nowhere to go. His bullets would find everywhere. And that was always best part in the cat and mouse game. It was so shame that his mice never lasted longer than few minutes. But this, boy, he licked his lips. This was most refreshing he had felt in a long time. He loved the cat and mouse game they were playing. He should keep it up for a while at least. His smile widened when he heard his bullets hitting something. He faded into the darkness and appeared into another location. With a loaded weapon he began shooting again. This ability was a little gift from 6chan. He had shared some of his powers, to make things more interesting, and the sniper didn't care. He would break that confident look on that boy's face and make him panic. Make him scream in pain and fear. He pulled his rifle ready. There it was, in the middle of a street, lying, slowly moving into an alley for cover. He had hit the boy really good. He was only barely moving. Too bad, boy. He licked his lips. The appetite must be finished before going to the main course. We're sorry the menu you ordered has gone bad. Come again later. Voice said behind him, And don't try to disappear anymore. I can see through your illusions and I've got my long bow aimed at the back of your head. He slowly took his eye of the scope. He's not wearing anything but his boxers. He muttered and licked his lips disappointed. How did he manage to escape my scope? How did he find 10? Well, I've always seen through illusions, so it wasn't really hard to see through this one. Even though it was really well made. I didn't notice it first. Then one time when you almost pierced both my ears at the same time, it hit me. It was impossible shot. He snorted. After that, I realized everything else was an illusion. Expect this one place. The sniper pouted. The smoke had dissolved and now the thing he had been aiming was all clear. It wasn't his mouse at all. It didn't even look like it. It was just few sticks put together with glue and line and covered with his mouse's clothes. It kept moving towards at some alley even though all the smoke has disappeared. There was a line that disappeared into the alley. It must have been tied to some weighty thing that kept pulling it. In the smoke, it was easy to be mistaken for his little mouse, but now, he felt so stupid. You knew where I was yet you had to end our little game. 10 is mad. What game? Who are you anyway? Turn around and tell me why you wanted to kill me. The sniper slowly stood up, still holding his rifle. Drop it. Naruto snapped. No. What? 10 won't give Lala away. He snapped angrily. You may shoot 10 but she won't give Lala away. He slowly turned away. He saw Naruto standing there, holding his bow, ready. For the first time, they saw each other from this close distance. The sniper was wearing a mask, hood and goggles. Unload it. 10 seemed reluctant to say at least, but after they glared at each other for a moment, he complained. Slowly, his hand moved by the gun and pushed a switch. The clip fell off. Then he moved his hand again and pulled the handle and another bullet flew out. Now, remove that mask. I want to know what kind of freak I'm dealing with now. He muttered. He titled his head confused and pulled the hood off with one hand while the other still on the Lala. 2 hair buns jumped up in his head. Then he removed his goggles. Brown kitty eyes looked around dreamily. Then finally, he removed his mask to show her face. You're a girl. Naruto stepped back at shot while trying to keep in mind that this very same girl had almost made an extra air hole in his head. 10 is a girl. 10 is a good girl. Girl tilted her head nodding confused. Is something wrong? He no believe. No way. You don't even sound like one. Then something happened that was even more shocking than the revelation that she was a girl. She proved it with one unquestionable way possible. With her bare hand, she undid her pants and let them fall the ground, revealing lady parts. Undoubtedly her lady parts. First lady parts Naruto had ever seen, besides certain movies and magazines, and the reaction was immediate. Blood gushed out of Naruto's nose like a fountain but tried his best to stay calm. He was so screwed. He couldn't look away from her, without the obvious risk of dying from a bullet. But he couldn't at her because every other glance he took was towards it. And every time he looked towards, it meant couple more pools of blood in his feet. Marry me, he whispered in his teenage hormonal state. 10 titled her head. Okay. Long as 10 can play with Lala. Good. Wait. What? Naruto stopped in the middle of a step closer, his bow on the ground, hands inches away from that. He just realized that he was unarmed front of a half-naked girl who had a gun. He jumped back and pulled his crossbow from his ninpo bag. Okay. You almost had me. Now pull your pants back up. 10 tilted her head on the other side looking dreamy. Who is he? I already said. He took his pose. Uzumaki Naruto, vice boss of Vongola 10th, Sawada Tsunayoshi. Then he stopped. Why? The girl grinned and suddenly Naruto realized things weren't like he thought. Her name is Tenten, and she will see him again. She leapt backwards, down from the rooftop with a ferocious grin. In the air, she pulled a shining bullet out, her back pocket, from pants that lied on the ground front of him, he hoped because only other option was, arousing, and stuck it into the rifle. He twisted it towards him and pulled the trigger. Naruto reacted accordingly and leapt back also, releasing his crossbow. The bullet went through his shoulder, which caused his aim to waver badly. He had been aiming at her fingers, but the arrow found itself through her leg. It was not like either of them had the pleasure to notice where they had hit because the pain they went through right now. Naruto woke up. Didn't know how long it was. He must have hit his head pretty badly when he landed. He was still lying on the ground towards the big blue sky. I wonder how long I was out. He whispered and struggled on his feet. It seemed to take forever. I go to find boss, he whispered and started stumbling towards the place where he had been separated. When after time that felt like an eternity, he reached the hole where Tsuna and others had fell in. He looked around. No sign of them. He whispered painfully. I guess they've already gone in. He continued his limping towards what he thought was the main building. He found Yamamoto's unconscious body, lying gently against a tree. You okay there, buddy? He asked quietly. Yamamoto didn't answer. Naruto also saw bodies of two obvious henchmen, or one hench girl, one of them had a skirt. She had also her throat stuffed with Bianchi's poison cooking. Naruto. He turned around. Yamamoto was struggling to stand up. What happened? Where are your clothes? He stood up while leaning back to the tree. Naruto glanced down. Oh yeah, he muttered. I was in so much pain that I didn't even notice that I forgot my clothes. You're shot. Yamamoto tried to take a step forward to help him but just crashed down. Damn, he whispered. Where's the shooter? She is taken care of. Naruto muttered, thinking, what did happen to her? You don't mind I stand up? If lay down, I might not be able to stand up again. Not at all. Yamamoto laughed. I really got my kicked, huh? What happened here? Yamamoto told him the brief version of what had happened. The girl with the flute, birds, and in twins, then Rokudo Mokuro. You fought him? Yeah. Yamamoto nodded. He had finally been able to stand up on his own. He had this huge metal ball that hit me really bad. I was knocked out pretty quickly. He gave out a nervous laugh. I don't know what happened after that though. Naruto looked around. Well, that it was boss and other who laid you against the tree, we can presume, boss won. They exchanged smirks. And that they have advanced to the main building. They both turned to look. Can you walk? Yamamoto laughed. Don't worry. You're the one who has been shot. Twice. And walking around in your underwear. He started laughing wholeheartedly. What can I say? I enjoy this feeling. Naruto muttered, slightly embered. Yamamoto stopped laughing that second and sweat dropped. Really? Anyway, are we going or what? Oh, yeah. The duo of two badly injured bodyguards of Vongola 10th made their way into the main building. It had been long and hard walk for Naruto, who had a bullet scrap in his leg and a bullet wound in his shoulder, probably broken back and a killing headache, and to Yamamoto, who had several internal injuries, broken ribs and badly wounded arm. Also, they both were dead tired. Not that it mattered though. Their friends were in danger and they needed to help them. This heroic thought gave them strength to go on. Or they were having severe hallucinations due all the pain. But now, they were having a problem. They were standing in a lobby of the building, or what used to be a lobby. There was nobody anywhere. No sounds. No life. No nothing except rubble and dirt. So they had no idea, where now? Right or left? Or straight ahead? Yamamoto suggested. No idea. Maybe. Naruto thought quietly. This way. He pointed straight ahead. I still think we should go this way. Yamamoto pointed to the right. It feels right. But I think we should go straight ahead. Naruto said firmly. Yeah, but, vice boss. Naruto suddenly yelled. I outrank you. Yamamoto's sweat dropped but smiled. How about, we split up? There's a chance that both of us are wrong, but now there's greater chance to find them if we split up. So they walked into two different directions. What's the matter, Vongola? Scared? Gokudera asked with a devious smirk on his face. Wouldn't it be easier just to give up? Bianchi asked with a similar smirk. This fight is completely futile. Ken added. You're destined to lose. Chikusa finished. Tsuna looked around frantically. He was surrounded. Reborn did nothing, just stood there. His friends were possessed. His kneels failed him. Hibari was out. Fuda unconscious. Mukuro shot himself. What the hell is going on? Gokudera raised the Mukuro's spear and smirked. I shall enjoy your body, Vongola. He thrust it down. Eek! He screamed, covering his head best he could. Then something clanged, and no hit came down. Why you okay, Tsuna? Yamamoto's voice asked. Tsuna opened his eyes. Yamamoto was standing in front of him, holding the remains of his bat sword and holding Gokudera's thrust back. Yamamoto, he screamed. You okay? Don't really know. Yamamoto struggled just to speak. What's going on? What happened to Gokudera? He's possessed by Rokudo Mukuro. Tsuna screamed. Possessed? Yamamoto asked, confused but never heard to answer. Ken came and tackled him aside. Yamamoto, shall I posse's yet another person now? Gokudera moved away from Tsuna and closer to Yamamoto, who was held down by Bianchi and Ken. I'm taking your family into my control one by one. He raised his spear and looked down to Yamamoto when an arrow came and speared through his hand, making him lose the crib and drop the weapon. Don't even try it. Naruto yelled angrily. Naruto-kun. Tsuna screamed, relieved to hear his lost friend appearing. You okay, eh? Why? He stopped to saw Naruto standing there in nothing but underwear. What the hell happened? Sorry boss, I will explain later. He said while struggling to walk to them. Boss, I think you should run now. He struggled another step. Me and Yamamoto will hold Rokudo. You and Reborn will leave now. WWW, what are you saying? You can't do that. You can barely stand. Don't care about us, boss. Naruto said as he tried his best to reload the crossbow while Chikusa walked towards him confidently. You're Vongola 10th. We're just your people around. You have to survive. Naruto. Yamamoto had managed to tangle his arm free and snap the spear head before anyone else. Catch. Naruto barely was able to catch the spear head. What do I do with this? That's Mukuro's weapon. Tsuna screamed. If you're hit with it, he can posse's you. Really? Yamamoto asked, confused. I just wanted to give Naruto something to use defend himself. Anyway, don't let that scratch you. Tsuna screamed and found himself standing up even though he couldn't remember getting up. Don't. Reborn said suddenly. You can't do anything. You're just no good, Tsuna. But Naruto-kun should have thought before acting. Forget him. Reborn said coldly, watching for Tsuna's reaction. These next words would determine the future of Vongola and the world of Mafia together. And those few insufficient lives of couple high schoolers that were involved. But what? Reborn asked as Gokudera and Chikusa closed on Naruto. He was able to wave the spear head around, but it did little good. What you want? What is it that you want now? I want to save them all. He yelled. I want to save my friends. Reborn smirked under his hat when Leon started glowing. It was time. Time for the cocoon state to end. Tsuna's weapon would be revealed. What's going on? Naruto asked. Everyone had stopped and watched as Leon floated higher and higher. Then it exploded and bright light filled the room for few moments before two mittens landed on Tsuna's hand. What? Mittens? I thought it was supposed to give weapons like whip and Enzio like he gave to Dino. Why it gave me these? You don't know how useful those could prove to be. Put them on. Reborn told him with snappy voice and Tsuna complied. Naruto and Yamamoto, who were both now beaten down and thrown aside, watched as Tsuna suddenly pull at another bullet that seemed to be completely different from their usual, dying will bullet. Reborn insisted using it and pulled his Leon gun and aimed. All 4 possessed victims charged at Tsuna. Gokudera threw all his bombs at Tsuna, a victorious smirk on his face. Tsuna, boss. His 2 only non-possessed members of the family yelled when he took the full front of the bombs. No one would be able to survive that. Did he make it? Naruto asked. Yamamoto gulped. Tsuna didn't move at all. He just lay there, his useless, stupid, ugly mittens on his hands. Then slowly he twitched. It might have been just a reflex. I don't think I have to voice my rebuke. Reborn said suddenly, a smile on his face. Why are you looking at me like that? Both Naruto and Yamamoto looked at Chikusa confused. Tsuna's head was turned against them so they didn't see his open eyes, darting at him. Admirable, but why don't we put an end to this now? I can't have your body to be destroyed in the process. He was holding the spearhead and thrusted it. Tsuna, Yamamoto yelled. Naruto closed his eyes, not daring to watch. Yosh. He heard Yamamoto's happy cheer and opened his eyes. Tsuna was alive. He was alive and was fighting. He had grabbed the spearhead with his mittens when they started changing. They glowed and turned into something very, very cool finger gloves with emblem of X written in the back. Tsuna stood up and flame appeared in his forehead. But there was something different from usual. What's going on? Naruto whispered, but neither knew the answer. Reborn explained them the difference between rebuke, bullet, and dying will, bullet. Tsuna stood there and faced his opponents. Fight between him and Ken and Chikusa was quick. Tsuna was able to see through Rokudo's illusions, as well Naruto, Reborn noticed. Then he knocked out Gokudera and Bianchi. Yosha. Yamamoto cheered tiredly when it seemed to end. You did it, Tsuna. No, he did not. Naruto whispered and looked at the body of Rokudo Mukuro. What you mean? Yamamoto asked when Tsuna faced the body as well. Come out, Mukuro. You're alive, aren't you? He said firmly. Body stood up and picked up the spearhead, placing it on top of the spike. Fufufumu. Rokudo laughed. I see your fighting abilities have increased remarkably. I have to admit that you're quite a foe to deal with. Stop your talking, Tsuna said with uncharacterily calm voice and raised his fists to a boxing-like stance. Let's finish this. Fufufumu. Rokudo smirked. I shall enjoy this. The fight what 2 members of the Vongola X's family witnessed was more amazing than anything so far. It was actually so amazing that Yamamoto lost his consciousness just from watching by the time Tsuna managed to ruin Rokudo's weapon and knock him on his back. Naruto watched this in awe. But also in fear. This is the world I chose to enter to. He gulped. This is once-in-a-lifetime chance for you to truly be prepared for your future task. Woman from last time had explained. We are Mafia and our world isn't for weaklings or soft-hearted children. Do you understand the weight of your words when you accepted Archibaldino's offer to become member of our family? Because that was just some game to you, you better back down now. As Naruto witnessed the fight between Mukuro and his boss, he started to understand what she meant. He listened as Mukuro told his plan to rule the world and bring it into darkness. He heard his ultimate hate for Mafia and the world that which had created it. The fight that followed was simply amazing. In any manga that Naruto had read, he had never seen anything like that. Tsuna's flame against Mukuro's illusions. What is dying will flame? Naruto whispered in awe as Mukuro crashed with wall, and landed on the floor. Yosh! Naruto yelled. Finish him. No. Tsuna said simply and turned away. I can't do that. Naruto, are you okay? You should listen to your family, Vongola. Mukuro grabbed Tsuna's hands from behind. Soft heart like that will only get you killed in the end. If I seal your arms, your flames are useless. He knelt him in the back. Everything has gone exactly like the plan. The plan? Tsuna asked. Why do you think I've gone all this trouble of sending ins after another after you? It was to train you. Make you hate me. Make sure you would unlock your true powers before me. What? He wants to possess Tsuna's body. Naruto whispered. Vongola Tenth's body and his powers, the Mafia world would be ruined in matter of years. Oh my gods, this is like from some manga series. Fufufumu. I'm impressed of your family member, Vongola. Mukuro smirked. I can tell just by looking that if I had found you before the Vongola, you would have been a very useful pawn to me. And you will. He kicked Tsuna into back with all his power, sending him flying. Rest in peace. Tsuna. Behind you. Naruto yelled. Tsuna and Reborn watched as he flew towards the spearhead which was stuck into the wall. Reborn only smirked. You keep underestimating your boss, Naruto. Tsuna. Show them the power of the X gloves. Wah. Tsuna suddenly thrusted his hands behind and large flames light the hall. Tsuna yelled with all his might and he flew forward. Then, with one fist, Tsuna defeated him. In the end it took just one punch into Mukuro's face and they had won. Naruto gulped. This time he was sure. Mukuro wouldn't be coming back after that. Way to go, boss. Naruto cheered as the dying will flame went out. He struggled on his feet and tried to walk over to him. Are you okay, boss? Naruto-kun. What happened to you? Tsuna screamed. You're bleeding and you're in your underwear. Naruto stood there for a moment. I like the breeze. Everyone's hurt. Tsuna suddenly realized. Even Yamamoto, who was already badly hurt. Don't worry. They both looked at Reborn, who was holding Leon's cell phone. Vongola medical team has arrived. They also brought the antidote for Lancia's poison. Thank goddess. He sighed relieved. Anyway, boss, what should we do with him? Naruto glanced at Mukuro's unconscious body. Unless No, we're not finishing him off. Tsuna said with sudden force. Then he paled slightly. Is he? He's alive, Tsuna. Reborn sighed. Soft as ever. Naruto sighed and seemed quite disappointed but didn't argue. What then? Get away from him. Ken struggled forward with last bit of strength, Chikusa by his side. Don't you Mafia dare to touch him. Naruto instinctively covered Tsuna even though it was obvious any of them could fight, Naruto or Ken or Chikusa. It was amazing any of them was still moving or breathing for that matter. Why? He used you. He possessed your body and. Don't talk like you know us, Mafia. Chikusa whispered and they explained where they came from. Where Mukuro's fate for world had started. How Ken and he came to be. It was horrible. Even to Naruto, who kept his face neutral, thought it was disgusting use of people to do something like that. Tsuna was just shocked. Finally, we had a place to go. Chikusa ended. A home to belong to. Then it hit Naruto how much it must have meant to them, to have someone. He quietly looked at unconscious figures of Gokudera, Yamamoto, Bianchi, Fuda, and even Hibari, then he looked at Tsuna. This was his family. He glanced down to Tsuna's side where Reborn was looking at him. At that moment, Naruto nodded his head. I will do it. Before Tsuna could question him, the door flung open and Vindice came and took Mukuro and his henchmen away. Who were they? They were guardians of Mafia law. Reborn explained gloomily. Best not to get involved with them. Tsuna was about to argue when sudden pain echoed through his body. Then this echo changed into a whisper and then into a voice, and before he knew it, it was screaming in his ear. Aeeek. He screamed in pain until he ped out. Boss. Naruto screamed like a little girl when Tsuna suddenly crashed with the floor. Don't worry. His body is just tired. Reborn explained. What about you? Don't tell me you're okay. You got 2 bullet wounds, a broken back, and you still care for him. As I said, he looked as medical people started to enter the room. They are my friends. And when I listened that Animal Mon's story, I realized, I'm same as them. Tsuna, Gokudera, Yamamoto, Fuda and Bianchi, even Lambo, they are my place to go to. I was alone before and I know how much I want to avoid that from now on. He gulped. Could you tell your friend that I will do it? You're serious? That will take you to a road where there is no turning back. Naruto closed his eyes when some medic placed him on his gurney. I know. But, if I don't do this for this family, who will? Boss. No offense, but, he is not a person who should go through with this. Not yet at least. Talking like a true vice boss. Reborn smirked. Prepare to pack your bags, you will leave. Can it wait for couple of weeks? I want to things for settle first, you know. And Yamamoto has his game coming then, I want to see him getting his kicked. I will tell them that you're willing to accept their offer in 2 weeks. Now, sleep. Reborn jumped and kicked Naruto into the face and knocked him out. What a family this is. He shook his head as they were delivered out. Vongola Familia 1. Kokuyo Gang 0. Chapter End. Those who didn't know, 6-chan comes from Rokudo, Lu Dao. Roku, Lu, meaning 6, 6. So it's like Lu-chan. Get it? Chapter Epilogue. The Vongola 10th, Sawada Tsunayoshi had finally been released out of hospital, or rather kicked out by a baby home tutor, and so was his familia. Naruto, who had been in worse condition with his 2 bullet wounds, still had a bandage brace around his arm. Luckily for him, the bullet had missed all the important nerves and muscles and went straight through. It hurt like hell, but doctors promised that he would heal completely. He couldn't practice his archery though, and that made him really irritable. In fact, Tsuna and the others had to drag him away from his clubhouse when he had ripped off his bandages, ignored the alarming pain and tried to continue his art. That the first time, Naruto actually yelled at Tsuna, which of course resulted Gokudera jumping on him angrily, Yamamoto trying to calm them both down, only getting in the middle of a fight and Ryohei misunderstanding all this as a sparring match, it all mixing together and ending up as a huge fight. Now they watched as Yamamoto hit a home run on the field. Man, this is boring. Gokudera muttered under his breath. Don't be like that. Naruto yawned, also bored. Boss enjoys this, so we should try too. Do you think I could hit that ball before or after has been hit? He imagined himself shooting an arrow through the flying ball. Tsuna was laughing with others, and suddenly Ryohei started screaming to baseball players to join the boxing club. Gokudera raised his head a little and lowered his voice. When are you leaving? He whispered. Tonight. Naruto answered quietly. I can't miss this chance to improve myself for the boss. I get it. Gokudera sighed. Just remember that you're part of Thankx family, so you will now be our boss's representative. Don't screw this up. I won't. Naruto smiled. I trust that you won't let anything happen to boss while I'm gone. Certainly. Gokudera raised his chest proudly. I'm his right-hand man. I will die rather than let him even scrape a finger. Well, knowing boss, it won't last long. So try to keep him alive while I'm away. And look over the family for me too. They quietly nodded to each other before starting creating havoc. Yelling loudly, fighting among themselves. Like any other day. After things started to quiet down, Naruto sat down next to Reborn. What will happen now? He asked. You will be picked up precisely 7 p.m. Your cover story is that you have a scholarship into some European school for rest of the year. He explained, then turned his head around. Don't mind him. Naruto watched at a boy with his mother who seemed normal enough. Except for the fact that he could swear, the boy's other eyes had a 6 on it and kept smirking to them. Will he be a problem again? Most likely. But not for a while at least. Reborn explained and watched as Lambo peed on Tsuna's shoes. Then he smirked. It's nothing we can't handle. Naruto stood up. I have to finish packing. He muttered and started to walk away. Bye. Ooh, Naruto-kun. You're leaving? Tsuna asked while removing his socks. I thought we would hang out after the game. Sorry, boss. Naruto smiled over his shoulder and raised his hand. I got this thing to do. See you tomorrow. Oh, bye. Tsuna waved his hand. Something wrong, Tsuna? Kaiko asked while witnessing the moment. Nothing. I just feel like Naruto is so distant, nothing. Let's enjoy the game. I'm sure it's nothing. He smiled to his secret crush who smiled back. The next day, Naruto's desk remained empty. Naruto sat in the private airplane and looked through the window as the scenery ped far below. It was a nice, clear day, so the land beneath was all visible to him. Nice view, he muttered. Glad you like it, the pink-haired woman said solemnly. Naruto couldn't see her eyes behind that mask. She suddenly handed over a pile of documents. I want you to read this before we land. It's everything you need to understand about this trip. Naruto quietly glanced through papers. This makes it seem like I'm just on vacation rather than on a high-prized scholarship. He snorted quietly, but the girl front of her didn't even seem to get it. First let me ask, what kind of organization is Cervello? Woman put her laptop away and looked up. Why you ask? Because here they list every single branch and organization inside Vongola, but there is nothing about Cervello, where you introduced yourself. Expect, Cervello serves directly under 9th. What does it mean in practice? Mr. Uzumaki, you will discover that Vongola Famiglia has many secrets that you might not even find them all even if you live forever. But you've said 3 times that Vongola's Moon Guardian's duty is to know everything, and I don't even understand what a Moon Guardian is. There's another person who will explain it to you. Who? But the woman didn't answer, just picked up her laptop and continued her work. Naruto sighed. This is going to be a hard one. He whispered. He left. Just like that, Tsuna asked. Did he say anything to anyone? Not to me. Yamamoto shook his head. I didn't hear anything. Kyoko shook her head. I'm extremely pissed to him. Ryohei yelled top of his lungs. Everyone turned to face Gokudera, who twitching in his seat. I don't, I'm sorry 10th. Please forgive me. For face told me he was going abroad but didn't want to ruin our day together, so he didn't say anything. I'm sorry. He kneeled front of him. Please forgive me. Oh okay. Tsuna nodded. But did he tell you when he would be back? What is this? Reborn appeared out nowhere. Sad of losing your second in command. It's not that. Tsuna argued. That's right. I'm his second. That guy is just an idiot who run away. I didn't mean that either. Tsuna whispered. It's just that, he didn't even bother say goodbye. Others looked each other sadly. Well, it's not like he's not coming back, right? Yamamoto smiled to them. I mean, teacher did say that it was only temporary. I guess, Tsuna sighed. Naruto landed in Italy. Then a limo drove him into some small village. This is where you shall reside until further notice. Cervello woman said coldly and dumped him out. Here are directions to your accommodations. Do not leave this village until we fetch for you. That is all. She drove off. So Naruto was standing alone on town square of some nameless village, in a country where he couldn't speak 2 words of local language. Completely confused what he was supposed to do next. Uzumaki Naruto. He turned around. What are you doing here? Uchiha, Itachi. Naruto blinked. The same caped man who had almost shot him once was standing right front of him. They both blinked. Right back at you. Uchiha smirked. Isn't this a coincidence? Everyone. I got a letter from Naruto. Tsuna rushed to the CL, holding an envelope. Look here. Really? Yamamoto asked. When? This morning. I haven't even opened it yet. Tsuna showed it to everyone. TCH. Dares to send us letters like this. After abandoning his family like this. Nobody bothered to answer when Tsuna ripped the letter open. Hi boss, I hope you're doing well. I'm glad to inform you that your second is doing great too. He sweat dropped to that but continued. Europe is amazing. People are weird, all speak so loudly and acting so overly friendly. I thought they would be more like Smoke Factory, remembering that he's from here too. I guess he's just as weird to them as to us. That bastard. Gokudera cursed under his breath. Well, I'm not going to bore you with details. Just tell you that this is amazing. Girls especially. Soon as I told them I was the next vice boss of Vongola, they were melting in my hands, wink. That idiot goes and says something like that. Tsuna screamed. What if someone from a real mafia takes him the wrong way? Don't worry. Reborn said. Vongola's name alone is so strong that normal people wouldn't dare to touch him. Naruto is getting lucky. I'm jealous. Yamamoto smiled. I wish I were the same. Girls are all falling around you already. Tsuna whispered before he cleared his throat. Don't worry about me. I'm doing fine. Vongola's 10th vice boss, Uzumaki Naruto. Peas. Sorry for not telling anyone expect Smoke Factory. I thought it would only bring the mood down. See you when I get back. He sounds to be having fun. Kyoko smiled. So all he really tells us that he has been herring girls and nothing else. Hana muttered. What an annoying guy. What's Vongola anyway? Name of your stupid club. Don't go insulting Vong. Gokudera jumped up but Reborn kicked him down. As everything went on around them, Tsuna sighed. At least his friend was doing okay. Too slow. Itachi stated, and there was a gunshot but no weapons. He was wearing his usual cape that covered him. A bullet scraped Naruto's leg and he fell down. Damn. He cursed and pulled out a pair of shurikens. Take this. He threw them at Itachi before leaping away. While Itachi simply shot 2 projectiles away, he reloaded his bow and fired. Itachi dodged effortlessly but it scraped his cape and it fell off. Naruto gulped at what he saw. Itachi had pistols, bullet belts, clips wrapped all around his body. He was holding 2 smoking guns in his hands. I really like that cape. He whispered quietly and shot again. It was so fast that Naruto couldn't even follow man's hand when he drew. He felt a stunning pain in his abdomen when the rubber bullet hit him in the gut. Done yet? Not even close. Naruto whimpered and charged forward. Fool. Itachi sighed as he blocked Naruto's kick. Even though a gunman through and through, Itachi was very accomplished as a hand-to-hand combatant. So he easily grabbed his leg and punched him into knee. Naruto panted. Just one hit. One arrow, kunai, shuriken hit, scratch. Anything. He just wanted to land one lousy hit. Slowly, he pulled out a smoke bomb. If anything, this should give him 1 second. Take T. A bullet went through the bomb and it exploded in his hand. As he coughed madly, he heard Itachi's voice. Naive brat. Naruto crashed on the ground, spent. Why are we doing this? You yourself said you wanted to grow stronger. Itachi answered as he leisurely loaded his gun. 1 bullet at the time. But all you've done so far is hunted me like a rabbit. First thing you should always do when entering a fight is to figure out how to get out of it. People like you and me, we are not heroes. We lie, cheat, use underhanded tricks and take every possible advantage to defeat our enemies. If we can take them out from a rooftop 100 yards away, we will. There's nothing to be ashamed in our way of fighting. First we run, then we fight. He pointed his gun at Naruto's forehead and smirked. That being said, run. Another letter? Yamamoto asked. Yes. Tsuna showed it to everyone. He told that he is doing great. Look, there's even a picture attached to it. A picture. Everyone looked at a piece of paper. Naruto was standing there, in an Italian-style suit, laughing sheepishly. He sure looks smart. Haru whistled. I wonder how he could afford something like that. This is embering. Naruto laughed as Itachi took a picture. Bear with it. I can't have you walk around Vongola headquarters as my student wearing something that you made yourself. So, I'm really going to headquarters finally. Yeesh. Took only 5 weeks. You can consider yourself lucky. Itachi muttered with low voice. I'm one of the best inns in the world and even I can't get to exact headquarters. Only members of Vongola family are allowed inside the premises. Where you are going, is the core of Vongola headquarters. Only key members of the family are allowed there. Naruto gulped. This was getting scary. For boss. He whispered and straightened his tie. I'll be off then. Don't ember yourself. Itachi nodded as Naruto stepped out, to the street where a limo was waiting. He was careful not to show himself. He wasn't member of the family yet he was practically tutoring one of theirs. It could backfire greatly for Reborn's student if it was found out like this. Naruto sat in the limo, not really sure where it went. It took all these turns, and side roads, probably trying to confuse him. Naruto sighed and leaned back on his seat. It didn't do any good to try to keep up, he would just have to wait patiently and enjoy. After all, if anything would go wrong, he would just have to fight his way out. After hours of waiting, the limo finally drove to this large villa in the mountains. They crossed a heavily guarded gate. Naruto watched from inside the landscaping, houses and people all together. So this is Vangala base. He whispered to himself as the car drove him to the main entrance. I wonder if they have any ramen here. We have arrived. The driver's voice informed and the door flung open. Naruto nodded to himself and stepped outside. The same pink-haired woman, who had brought him to Italy, waited him there. Thank you for your patience. This way please. She led him inside. So, what am I doing here? Naruto asked as they walked what seemed to him an endless hallways and rooms. Not that I don't appreciate the tour, I can pick out the best place for my own room when boss takes over, but I doubt I was called here just for this. They suddenly stopped. Here. She pointed at the double doors. What's behind there? He asked, but somehow she had managed to disappear. Not knowing what was going on, he did the one thing he had learned from his mother. Everything you do, do it with a dawn. So he kicked the double doors open and stepped right in. Vangala 10th, Sawada Tsunayoshi's second in command, Uzumaki Naruto. Present. He entered a long room with a table in the middle of it. Around the table, angry-looking old men sat, glaring at him, or they just might look like that naturally, Naruto couldn't be sure. At the head of the table, old-looking man was sitting, leaning to his hands, eyes fixed on him. This man was different from others. He had a different aura around him. So, you're the one Reborn told me about. Sit please. The man pointed at the seat across the table nearest the door. Naruto, sit down. I'll take it that you're the Vangala 9th. He gulped but tried to cover it with a glare. Man nodded. Indeed I am. Pleasure to meet you. What is it that you want of me, Ji-san? How dare you talk to the 9th like? Let it slide. Old man waved his hand. Uzumaki-san, why are you here? Is that a trick question? I'm here because I was summoned to be prepared to support my boss as his second in command. Naruto narrowed his eyes. You misunderstood me. 9th smiled. Why did you choose to be part of Tsunayoshi-kun's family? Reasons are mine and mine alone. Naruto stated simply. Anything else? Well, there are few matters that need to be solved. 9th tapped something behind his desk and screens appeared out of the desk front of everyone. Even Naruto. Some people are concerned that Sawada Tsunayoshi might not be right person to succeed after all. On the screen, Tsuna was screaming like a little girl, running through a graveyard. They are having a test of courage. Naruto muttered before his sweat dropped. But boss, can't you act bit more manlier for a change? He looked back up when Lambo started crying. God, he hated that cow. So, what's the problem? Boss is having fun, and I'm stuck here, with his family. This. One of the nameless old guys jumped right up and pointed at the screen. How do you expect him to lead the greatest mafia in the world, if he can't even take few scares? I agree. Someone else nodded. I think we should start to consider of eliminating this pathetic option and take some real. Man never got to finish his sentence before an arrow scraped his forehead. Everyone except the 9th jumped back in shock to see Naruto holding his right arm forward while his left was tugged inside right sleeve. You bah! Man yelled, but another arrow just scraped his shoulder. Don't go badmouthing Sawada Tsunayoshi front of me. He whispered warningly. Before coming to this meeting, He had armed himself with a very special, self-made bow, which he had hid inside his sleeve. There was a moment of silence and Naruto could feel the killing intent in the room. Every bit of it was directing towards him. Fine. Go ahead and come at me if you wish. I'm boss's second in command and I can kick your ass back to last millennium if you wish it. This is a rebellion. Your actions have just caused a rebellion. Not if I kill you all before anyone finds out. Naruto forced a glare on his face. You think you can just kill all of us and get away with it? I just make it look like someone of you went nuts and started shooting people. There was a moment of silence. I read a lot of manga. Naruto cleared his throat before forcing another glare. He had royally screwed up and now all his friends were going to be pay for it. Well, if he could take out these people, his connection to boss might be left uncovered and they might be saved. Damn, he had read too much manga to try to be such a hero. That's enough. Ninth said simply and everyone back away instantly. Nice resolution there, boy. Ninth smiled. I never intended to disown Tsunayoshi-kun. I just wanted to see how you would react. Then he nodded to others. You may go. Others nodded and quickly paid Naruto and stepped outside. What you mean you wanted to see my reaction? What are you? A practical joker? Mon's smile slowly exchanged into a dark glare. Much darker than any of the other old guys ever had. We are Mafia. Not some group of kids playing cops and robbers. You must understand it. Tsunayoshi-kun must understand this. Trust me, after our clash with Rokudo Mukuro, we all understand that. Well, expect Yamamoto. I'm starting to think that he is a bit slow on the head. Do you also understand that we are a criminal organization? He asked. We're not some group of heroes either who are save the day. Rokudo Mukuro was a creation of our world, so it was our responsibility to deal with him. By our responsibility, you mean and boss and us. Naruto corrected flatly. We nearly died doing that. I had to make sure Tsunayoshi-kun and his future family understood the reality of the situation. And when Rokudo Mukuro appeared in Japan, it was an excellent opportunity to let him show his skills. Naruto finally sat down. So, why am I really here? These are things you should talk over with boss. But are you not his second? Even though Gokudera Hayato-kun is always bragging about being his right-hand man. I'm confused. What is the difference between the two? How should I know? Naruto shrugged. I guess Smoke Factory can take care of boss while I deal with the family. That's a bit much, don't you think? For a person like you to try to manage Vongola. Not at all. Naruto's eyes darkened. It's not like I haven't seen my fair share of bad things in this world. You're talking about what happened to your mother, I presume. Ninth nodded. Don't act so surprised. Reborn found out your past easily. Naruto stood up. Is there anything else? I got this pretty thing waiting for me back at that village. Yes, I've heard you've been using family's name for that kind of thing. A smirk crept on his face. Do you want me to stop? Not at all. It's just an old name. If it helps you with the girls, be my guest. Ninth waved his hand. But of course, don't hold me accountable if someone of our enemies tries to kill you because of it. Naruto stopped in the middle of a step. Anyway, if you really want to help Tsunayoshi-kun to succeed and lead Vongola, you must understand how this family works. It will be your duty to support Tsunayoshi-kun in his task. I will send a car to get you in near future. You will act as an observer to see how Vongola works. Then, when Tsunayoshi-kun finally inherits my position, you will help him to deal with the family. You understand? Sure. Naruto nodded. Was there anything else? Not today. See Sakura-san on your way out and she will take you back. Thanks. Naruto waved his hand and walked away. Outside, same pink-haired woman was standing there. Are you going just dumb me to that place like last time? Half an hour later Naruto flew out of the limo, hitting the front door of his home. I guess so. He whispered painfully. Another letter from Furface. Gokudera asked bored. Yes, he is doing great. He even got to visit some big European cities. Any pictures? He said that he would show us when he got back. It had been hectic couple weeks. After being officially accepted by the family, Itachi had nudged up his training. If it was hard at first, it was unbearable. The day after Naruto came back from the headquarters, he pulled him to their usual training site and threw Naruto a large bag. Now that you're officially accepted by the 9th boss of Vongola, you need to get a lot stronger, a lot faster. There are weapons in that bag. Take what you need and come with me. Itachi took Naruto to a hunting trip. There were some dangerous people killing innocent civilians and they needed to be dealt with. This time, all he needed to do was to keep his head down and stay alive. Just when they got back, Naruto, who only had 4 bullet wounds, that's only half what Itachi gives him during their training sessions, was dragged into Vongola base where he followed the life inside. Meetings, different organizations, guards training, different families inside Vongola, parties, weekly bases, all that. Naruto soon realized how alive the whole place was. This was how his life went on. One day he would be shooting arrows at some people who were shooting at him, and the second, he would be fighting to stay awake when some 2 old guys would talk really slow. Like what happened sometime after his acceptance. And next agenda is ending of our skirmishes against Giglio Nero. We've been exchanging blows back and forth without any real accomplishments, so we only need to send an emissary and that should just wrap things. What is that? Someone yelled loudly. It's Mr. Uzumaki. Everyone looked around to witness Naruto snoring and drooling on his seat. Suddenly he jumped and looked around. Wah, is the meeting over? He wiped his eyes when he noticed how everyone was looking at him. I'll do it. Fool, doesn't even know what. Thank you for your volunteering, Mr. Uzumaki. The chairman smirked and looked around. Any objections? Suddenly Naruto realized what he had just done. He was given a new suit, a limo, and driven to Milan. There, to a glorious hotel, guarded by black-clothed figures in every angle. Damn, Naruto whispered as he looked around from insides of his limo. Why am I here? And why the hell am I alone against an army or bad guys? Because you accepted this mission. Sakura explained plainly. All you need to do is get their representative to sign this paper and you can run back to mommy. Shut up. Naruto glared at the girl and stepped out of the car. The instant he stood up, all eyes locked on him. I'm looking for Giglio Nero Familia. Who are you, brat? Someone of the bodyguards asked rudely. Naruto ignored him and walked inside the hotel. I'm the second in command of future head, 10th boss of Vongola, Uzumaki Naruto. Step aside. Sakura watched from the car as he disappeared into the glamorous lobby. He has the style, I'll give him that. Naruto was led into a conference room, searched for weapons and left alone. Great. Just great. They had taken his sleeve bows, his ninja bag, knife in his shoe, small crossbow and his telescope longbow. People who had searched were stunned of the amount he had managed to hidden inside his suit. He only had one small throwing knife left hidden in place where he would rather not put anything. Boss, you better appreciate this. So, Vongola sent a small brat to sign the treaty. He turned around. A tall blonde guy stepped in from double doors which closed behind him. Who do you think you are? Naruto glared at him. I'm from Japan and there we believe in good manners, unlike the rest of the world obviously. When asking one's name, you should introduce yourself. He sat down, behind the conference table. Well, man snorted. Arrogant little brat, aren't you? Well, name is Gamma. I work for the Giglio Nero. Naruto. Vongola 10th second in command. Really? And I thought Vongola 9th was one in charge. Until boss is ready to succeed. Naruto pulled out the peace treaty. Here. He slid it across the table. Both sides have suffered, neither won anything. We think it's time to end this. And because you've dragged yourself here, you must agree somewhat. Gamma glared at the paper. There is no retribution to our side. What's the meaning of this? There's nothing for us either. Naruto pointed out, and it was your family's young ones who started this conflict. For which we were willing to apologize at the time, but you refused. Naruto raised his hands. I don't know anything about that, but the question is, do you want a peace or do we need to start a real war? He narrowed his eyes. Are you threatening me? Gamma glared. Telling you the facts. Naruto answered. It will be either of those. Even though most of our leaders want this petty thing to end, there are those who would prefer if this were to continue and those who would profit if Giglio Nero were disposed. Gamma tightened his jaw. Fine. He cursed under his breath. But I want Ninth himself to come and sign this. That won't happen. Naruto shook his head. I have no power over Ninth's family. I'm his successor's subordinate, not his. Then you better talk to someone who can. Otherwise, we too will come forward with full force. Naruto shook his head. My people wanted me to get your people to sign this. And I won't return without the signature. Gamma was about to answer when the doors opened again. That's enough, Gamma. Beautiful lady stepped in. She smiled warmly to Naruto and he felt himself blushing slightly. I'm the boss of Giglio Nero. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun. The middle school student quickly cleared his throat and nodded. Likewise. He stood up politely. Uzumaki Naruto. Vongul, a 10th second in command. Nice to meet you. Then his eyes locked into the pendant between on her chest. A pacifier. Arya looked at him for a moment. Leave us alone for a moment, Gamma. She smiled to her bodyguard. But boss, don't worry. Naruto-kun gives his word that he won't do any harm to me, won't you? Oh, of course. Naruto nodded, stuttering slightly. This lady was some pretty girl. No wonder her bodyguard was so protective of her. Angrily huffing, Gamma stepped out of the room, closing the door behind him. Slowly, Arya sat down facing Naruto. You're from Japan, yes? Naruto nodded. What of it? Arya smiled. Don't be so defensive all the time. I've never visited that place, but I've heard that it's an amazing place. I would like to visit that place once. Come around Namimori if you want to. It's lovely there. I bet. Arya smiled. Is something in the matter? That pacifier? Naruto narrowed his eyes. I've seen similar ones before. You have? 3 of them actually. Naruto answered. We were on vacation on this Mafia land. That was a wacky adventure. Anyway, there was this one baby who had a blue pacifier called Kernelo. Then this baby called Skull with a purple pacifier came along. That's 2. Arya smiled. 3rd one was front of me all this time. A baby called Reborn. 9th's best hitman and boss's tutor. He called these babies as Arcabaleno. What amazing story. Arya clapped her hands. But what it has to do with me? You have a pacifier exactly like they did. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Does this mean you're one of them too? I could just be wearing one. She explained. Could be just a cool accessory I got myself. If it were so, then you would have said something earlier. Suddenly Arya smiled with all new strength and leaned into her hand. Really? Reborn Oji-san knows how to pick them. Reborn Oji-san. You know I'm talking about an infant, right? Arya took a pen and wrote her signature on the paper. There are many secrets in this world. Some will reveal themselves, for some you must seek an answer yourself. She stood up and Naruto followed suit. Here, and suddenly leaned over the table, giving a peck on the cheek. I'm looking forward of seeing you, Vongul, a 10th's vice boss. Completely startled, Naruto nodded. Until then, he mumbled. Arya walked outside, impish smirk on her face. Playing with teenage boys was always so fun. Is it done, boss? Gamma asked. Can't believe that arrogant brat. It's fine, Gamma. She stepped inside a limo. I don't remember you being much different when you were that young. Boss. True. You were a lot rasher and rude than that. Arya smirked impishly as the car drove off. About half an hour later, when Naruto had finally snapped out of his daydream, he wobbled outside, where his car was waiting for him. He stepped inside the limo which was still waiting for him. Did you do it? Sakura asked in cold manner. Naruto presented the documents which Arya had signed. You did well, she muttered as she examined the signature. Is this normal, around here? What is? Fights. Almost every family has skirmishes with others. Sakura explained. Some more than others. Young rash members often start trouble among themselves. Older members hardly pay attention to these long as they remain somewhat civil. Most of the time, they end their own fights on their own accord, without any need of bosses of any family to intervene. But there are some cases where leading members must, like here where the opposing side is a family like Giglio Nero. Naruto nodded understanding and looked out of the window and watched the beautiful Italian countryside to pee by. What does it say? Reborn asked from Tsuna, who was reading another letter. He says he has met an old friend and they will be living together from now on. He says that she will be coming with him to Japan when he is done in Europe. I wonder who I might be. Let's play. Let's play. The sniper in, former member of Kukio gang and escapee from Mafia prison, Tenten jumped on Naruto's bed, while he was still trying to sleep on it. Ten wants to play. Why are you here? Naruto whimpered. Just few moments earlier, he had found her sleeping soundly in his bed. He had jumped up screaming and kicking like a maniac. She rubbed her eyes sleepily like a cat and tilted her head before lunging herself into him. Ten-chan found you. She wrapped her hands around him tightly and hugged. Ten-chan is happy. Why are you here? Naruto whispered while trying to get away. Let's play. No. Naruto barked and jumped away. Tell me, why are you here? Tenten tilted her head confused. Because my mama told Ten, that when a boy asks a girl to marry, they need to be together for year. Then she sulked. It wasn't nice not to tell Ten where Na was going. Ten-chan looked for you very where. How did you find me then? Wait. That's not important. What you mean? Marry. We are not married. Of course not. We didn't have a wedding yet. Mama said that very girl should have a wedding before they enter the happy ever after. You mother must have read a lot of fairy tales, hasn't she? Ten titled her head, like waiting for something. Naruto didn't have the time at the moment, stepped out of the bed and started her morning preparations. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but unfortunately I'm currently not into dating that much. I need to do my duty to my boss. So, if you don't mind. Ten smiled. Okay. Then suddenly she kicked something in her feet and her good old Lala jumped up and she pointed it at him. Mama also said that if boy ever goes back in his word, you should remind him that there is no way out. Naruto spit the toothpaste out of his mouth. You're not serious. Ten smiled happily. Ten and Na will be married like Mama and Papa. We will live in a house and have lots of kids. Mama will be so proud. How the hell were you raised? Naruto screamed as he backed away when he hit the wall. Please. Let's think this through. We're both what? 15. We're not allowed to get married. It didn't seem that he was making a point. Tenten stepped forward, like a cat that had seen a mouse loitering around. So he screamed the first thing coming to his mind. You haven't met my parents yet. Ten stopped in the middle of a step and raised the rifle, leaning it up to her shoulder. Parents. Na's mama and papa. Naruto nodded. Well, yes. You know it's bad manners if you were to marry without their knowledge. And I need to ask your parents a formal consent. Otherwise, I can't bring myself to marry, no matter how much I love you. He smiled. Good. My mom's dead and I will kill my dad before I were to talk to him. This should buy me some time. Okay. Tenten lowered the gun and sighed sadly. Ten won't get married. Ten will have to wait. Tears started running down her cheek. Nobody likes Ten. Ten's ugly. Ten's scary. 10 stupid, Baya. She started crying like rivers. Naruto cursed inside his head. He had broken one of his own rules. Made a girl cry. He despised people who did that. Well, maybe, before we go forward with this, we could try, dating, if you don't mind. Slowly Ten raised her head. Dating. Going out together, going to movies, eating together, making out, I don't know. I never had any real girlfriends before, yet I have seen girls' privates before there, so I guess that's accomplishment, so how am I supposed to know? Ten seemed to be about to burst into tears again. He sat on the bed. I didn't mean to make you cry. Or hurt your feelings. You will, sniff like Ten. She asked innocently. Yes, I will like Ten. But she must promise to do what I tell her to, okay? Suddenly, all tears were gone and she hugged him tightly. Ten will be a good girl. She squealed brightly. Yes, I bet you will. Naruto sighed. What I've gotten myself into. Then he felt Tenten's rubbing on his chest. But I can't complain about the feeling. He mumbled. If they hadn't been hugging, he would have seen how Tenten was holding her fingers, a victory sign behind his back, and showing her tongue. Na was so easy to manipulate. A girlfriend? Itachi asked one day. You have a girlfriend now. Have I taught you nothing? He yelled angrily. I'm sorry. But what was I supposed to do? She was crying. Itachi closed his eyes. This brat was one heck of a case. A genius when it came to combat. Amazing reflexes, didn't panic under pressure, was a quick thinker, good improviser and amazing shooter. Smooth talker and had a flair for illusionist. Knew how to get people to follow him. He understood the world of Mafia but wasn't corrupted by it. Loyal to his boss, so it was almost a fault. Yes, excellent pupil, one might say. If he wasn't so damn stupid sometimes. This idiot goes and challenges leaders of Vongola. Is disrespectful of everyone. Fires a shot at one of the leaders. Goes around hitting girls with using Vongola's name all the time. Refuses to take up firearms and sticks to those stupid, useless bows. And now, he has gotten himself a girlfriend. From one of the few people in the world who had actually managed to escape and stay on the loose from inescapable Vendicare prison and its guards. If there was something this kid could do, it's a scene worth witnessing. So next time, when a girl cries because she couldn't put a bullet into your head, you will put it there for her. Of course. Or maybe, when someone tries to kill your boss but because they failed and starts crying, will you finish the job? Well, obviously. Why don't I just shoot you right here and be done with it? Itachi pulled his pistol and aimed it at his head. Naruto saw it. His hand move. After weeks of training, he was able to see it. Just as he managed to point the gun fully at him, Naruto leapt back and stuck his arm into his sleeve. With a practiced maneuver he launched an arrow. Itachi dodged it and fired a shot, but Naruto had managed to leap behind a tree. Then there were several explosions and soon the whole forest was covered in thick smoke. Boy is learning. Against an opponent who has more firepower and more experience, cutting their senses is an effective way to even the counts. But there's one mistake. You and I both use the same long-range weapons. Cutting my senses, you cut your own as well. Suddenly, an arrow flew through the smoke, dangerously close of him. Itachi turned instantly and fired a shot into same direction. He heard how the bullet hit Hiroki. Well, at least Naruto had learned how to evade. The question was, did he knew how to go from defense to offense? Suddenly, dozens of arrows flew all around him. What's this? Trying to hit me with pure luck. Then arrows stopped coming. It was quiet. Smoke was starting to solve and Itachi started to recognize his surroundings. He took a careful step forward when he felt a string against his foot. There was a quiet ring and simultaneous arrow flew past him. Itachi didn't bother to waste his own bullets. He understood now. Naruto had shot arrows with strings around, so limiting his movements and alerting if he made any sudden movements. Clever. But not clever enough. He could tell Naruto was aiming at the back of his head. He pulled out a shuriken of his own and threw them all around him, cutting strings. What will you do now? The arrow flew past his head. Smoke had finally dissolved and he could see clearly. So, did the little fox run away? No. Naruto yelled and appeared behind a rock, bow ready. Take this. He launched an arrow and ducked. He needed to make it close. If he didn't, he would lose his life probably. With only little effort, Itachi dodged the arrow. Naruto charged forward, placing an arrow onto a string. He was about to fire a shot when he felt something to impel his arm. Shocked, he looked at his arm and saw an arrow sticking from it. Illusion. Itachi didn't stay shocked long but raised his gun. There was a bullet shot and arrow launched. Then it became quiet. The fight had ended. Both Naruto and Itachi were standing up. You're ready. Teacher pulled his weapon away and nodded to his student and turned around. Don't disappoint me. Naruto gulped and panted. Then he bowed his head. Thank you very much. Tenten had been watching this from far with her scope and yawned. Her boy was playing with another boy but it seemed to have finally ended. And Na seemed to have been gotten a lot stronger since their fight. It would be fun to play with him in the future. Nah, let's go eat. Ten is hungry. She mumbled tired. There was only silence for a moment. Tenten-chan, what are you doing? Where are you anyway? Tenten saw Naruto looking around from her scope. Ten is looking you right now. She pulled the trigger and a rock in his feet shattered into pieces. He raised his gaze and looked directly into Tenten's scope. Shall we go to dinner, or shall we play? Naruto stretched his neck and smirked. I guess little play time wouldn't hurt. Sometime after that, something happened inside the Vongola headquarters. Naruto wasn't sure what it was but something was starting to stir. When he asked around, nobody seemed to be able to give him a straight answer. That was until one day, he was doing some Kyoto practice in the woods. Tenten was sleeping soundly under a tree next to him. They had really hit it on and Naruto was starting to actually enjoy having an actual girlfriend. He shot another bullseye when he heard someone stepping over a dry branch. He pulled out another arrow, turned around quickly and released the string, sending it away. The arrow scraped at a blonde mont's suit. That was close one. A happy-looking guy smiled at him, his hand out in the open. Sorry for disturbance. Who are you? Naruto asked, already armed with a new arrow. And what do you want? I'm Vongola outside advisor, Naruto-kun. Sawada Iamatsu. You're Sawada Iamatsu? He asked as he greeted the man. That's right. Man nodded. I'm Tsuna's father. Nice to meet you. I've heard much about you from Reborn. And Ninth tells me you're doing fine job getting to know the family. Yes. Naruto muttered. Something wrong. Well, I would have never guessed that boss's father was working for the family. But, what can I do for you? Naruto-kun, have you noticed anything different lately? Naruto nodded. I can't explain it but there's something different in the atmosphere around here. That's pretty good. His eyes darkened. Unfortunately it's not good business which we are talking about. What you mean? Naruto asked as he aimed at his target again. Iamatsu cleared his throat. Naruto-kun, Tsuna is in danger. Naruto's head sprung around so fast that it gave out an ugly crack sound. Do you know of Varia? Varia? You mean the elite inn? What's going on? Slowly, outside advisor pulled out something from his pocket and handed it to Naruto. He held it in his palm. This is the one of the legendary. One of the Vongola rings. The moon ring. Iamatsu nodded. You've been selected as one of the 7 people worthy to protect next head of Vongola. Naruto gulped. I had no idea. This is amazing. Then he suddenly looked up. What's going on? I understood that rings wouldn't be moving for some time. Unfortunately it isn't that simple. Iamatsu handed him an envelope. I don't have much time to explain so don't interrupt me. Vongola 9th has another successor other than Tsuna. Don't ask any questions. Anyway, Xanxus, his son cannot be allowed to succeed ninth. He must be stopped. Only one who can do that is Tsuna and his family. You among them must do what you can to protect Tsuna until I can get a clear answer from ninth. What's this? Naruto asked, holding out the envelope. That's your orders. I need your help. I'm heading to Japan to give other guardians their rings, but I need your help. Naruto ripped the envelope open. There were stack of paper. Gokudera. Obvious. Yamamoto. Not surprising. Ryohei. Well, not a bad choice. Boss gets his ring naturally. Hibari. Lambo. Him. You want to give him a ring? You're serious? And how? Don't tell me he escaped prison again. What the hell is wrong with that place? Is there some checking out service one can use when needed? They are the only ones who can do this. Iamatsu nodded and turned around. I'll be going now. I'm counting on you to do your job. Naruto kept reading papers for a moment. It gave him the gist of what was going on. He sighed and slowly walked over to Tenten. She had been sleeping through the whole talk. Gently, Naruto woke her up by shaking her arm. What? Dinner? Ten rubbed her eyes like a cat. So cute. Naruto yelled inside his mind. No. Back your bags. We're leaving. Leaving? Where? Naruto stood up and looked at the ring in his finger. We're going home. Vongol, a guardian of the moon, who secretly illuminates the family with enchanting glow, so protecting it from the shadows. He is coming home. Chapter end. And we enter the Varia arc. Let's see how people will be affected with Naruto's return and how he defeats Varia's moon guardian. Chapter epilogue. At the same time, when Tsuna was playing with Naito Longchamp and his family, Iamatsu was running around buying time, and Basil was desperately trying to deliver rings to Tsuna. He was still only halfway from Italy. Squallow on his tail, Naruto and Tenten were walking on Japanese soil. They were both carrying bags over their shoulders. Walking in some old warehouse building, holding the envelope in his hand. We will find him here. 6chan is here. Ten asked. Why are we here? She complained. I want to go home. Then go already. I'm working currently. They walked through warehouse onto another room. Who's there? A very girly voice asked. They entered the room seeing how a young girl was sitting on a bed. Who are you? What you want? Naruto gulped. Girl wasn't wearing anything but a light nightshirt. Then he felt sudden killing intent directed at his back. He cleared his throat. We're here to talk with him. Him. Chrome Dokuro asked quietly. Rokudo Mukuro. We're here talk to 6chan. Where is he? Bring him out now so we can leave. Tenten hissed dangerously. I don't know what you're talking about. Chrome backed away. Don't bother lying to me. I can tell myself that he is already listening our conversation. I'm here to make an offer like no other. Well. Isn't this a surprise? The girl chuckled suddenly with a manly voice. Vongol is subordinate and my former comrade. What brings you here? Naruto showed 2 chairs by the windows. Let's talk. And quickly Naruto explained Tsuna's situation and offered Rokudo the mist ring. Tenten amused herself by chasing small animals outside. You want me to work for Mafia? You must be joking. Mukuro snorted. You sure have sense of humor. Naruto smiled. Thank you. But back to the case at hand, if you do it, outside advisor and myself will be protecting your subordinates from capture. You went as far as gave yourself away to make sure they would escape. It would be a shame if they were captured again. That's merely part of my plan. Rokudo in Chrome's body smiled. But I guess I can't give away such an amazing offer. He closed Chrome's fist. Is that all? Naruto stood up. Thank you, Rokudo. I'll be expecting you in Namimori soon. See ya. Rokudo watched from window as he walked over Tenten and they walked away together. Really? Interesting fellow. Naruto glanced over his shoulder. Really? Interesting fellow. Who is? Tenten asked confused and leaned on his arm. No one. He smiled. Let's go home. I bet everyone is waiting impatiently.